I paid thousands of dollars in courses to learn what you're basically teaching on your podcast for free. What you're putting out there is so valuable. So, I just really want to acknowledge you, and I definitely send everyone to your podcast.
You were virtually one of the first mentors that I looked up to and started following. You're always one step ahead of the game. So I just wanted to give you kudos and props for that, because lots of people are watching, lots of people are learning from it.
Tucker and the whole TTM crew, Dan and Chris, thanks so much for your support. I love what you guys do, and a huge, huge fan. Having this support's huge. So I'm grateful for that.
What's up, everybody out there in listener land? This is episode 339 of the Real Dealz podcast. And as always, I am your host, at least for a minute anyway, Tucker Merrihew. I've got a very special episode for you guys this week. But before I get into that, I want to thank you guys that reached out to me this past weekend. I put an episode out last week that was a little bit going out on a limb. Gave my personal opinion, pulled the curtain back a little bit on what it's like to live in Portland and more specifically Oregon over the last, well, let's just say since this whole Corona mess hit. But I put out a show talking all about the fires and everything that's going on. And, a lot of you guys reached out to me and said that you appreciated my candor and my feedback and my perspective. So, hey, you know what? I might do these real type of shows more often, as long as I can tie them into real estate, which ultimately is what this show's about, right? So anyway, for those of you guys who reached out to me, I appreciate your feedback, and duly noted. Now, this week's show, I'm actually, by the time you listen to this, I'm going to be out of town this week. I'm going down to Phoenix, and I'm going to go do the Real Estate Disruptors podcast with Mr. Steve Trang. So I'm excited about that. I'm going to go hang out in the 100-degree heat, hang out with a good college friend of mine who lives in Scottsdale as well. We're going to talk real estate, hang out, maybe have a couple adult beverages, and do that whole thing. So if you guys are around your computer on Wednesday, I think it's around 1 or 2 o'clock, I'm not sure what time, I'll be doing the Real Estate Disruptors show. So hop on there and give me some love, ask some questions, and hang out. But for this week's show, since I'm going to be gone, I've actually got two fellas, one of which was at the Big Badass Real Estate Wealth Expo virtual edition last weekend and gave a great presentation there, Mr. Elliot Smith, and then also Cole, our partner in the Call Magic organization. They wanted to take the reins this week, and they wanted to talk to you guys all about lead generation, both now and kind of looking forward into the future. What is the future of direct-to-seller lead generation going to look like? I obviously am a little bit of a dinosaur, I guess, compared to some of these new up-and-coming young bucks. I use this thing called direct mail, but I also use a variety of other channels as well, including cold calling and, of course, some text message marketing and just a whole bunch of stuff, right? Ringless voicemail, the list goes on and on. But Cole and Elliot are kind of on the leading edge here in terms of what it is that we're doing with Call Magic in order to get your cost per lead and cost per deal down, but also really expand the number of channels that you guys are using. Of course, our main function at Call Magic is cold calling, but we've got a lot of really cool new things coming down the pipe as well. And so I'm excited to announce them, but I don't want to say too much because I'm not sure what exactly these guys are going to say. I just told them to make sure it's good, and I'll put this intro out there, and then we'll slap it together and we'll put this out for the world to listen to. So without further ado, I really hope you guys enjoy this week's show with both Cole and Elliot, and make sure to tune into Real Estate Disruptors on Wednesday around 1 or 2 when I'll be on there as guest of Mr. Steve Trang. So without further ado, let's get into this week's show. I know you guys are going to like it, and I'll be back on the next one. All right, Real Dealz podcast listeners, I want to talk quickly about our show's sponsor, Ironbridge Lending. If you guys have not reached out to Ironbridge already to talk to them about funding some of your upcoming flip projects, I highly encourage you to do so. I've known the owner of Ironbridge for a very long time. I've personally borrowed millions of dollars from them over the years to do a number of different projects, and I can say without a doubt, they are the best hard money lending company I have ever come across, and that is the reason why they are the sole sponsor of this show. I've had a lot of other companies reach out to me and want to sponsor this show, but I just won't do it. I feel like I need to be genuine in who we have sponsoring the show, and it needs to be somebody that I've personally done a ton of business with. So I personally vouch for their ability to be the best, hands down, in the world of hard money lending. You won't find better programs, you won't find better terms, and they're lending or will be lending in over 20 states. So chances are, if you're hearing this in whatever state you're in, it's definitely worth it to check out their website, reach out to them, see if they're lending in your state, and if they are, I would absolutely encourage you to do business with them. Another very cool thing to note is that they have a program for most rehabs where you can actually borrow up to 90% of the purchase price. Now, this is given the fact that you are actually buying a deal, which if you're listening to the show, that means you probably are. But if you have an actual deal on the table, they'll fund up to 90% of your purchase price, and they'll even give you rehab funds on top of that, which means that it only takes 10% down to get into a project, which is unbelievable in the hard money world. So do yourself a favor, reach out to Ironbridge Lending, have a conversation with them, see if they're a good fit for you and for your next project. I can guarantee you that you'll be happy that you did.
Cole, what's going on, man?
How's it going, man?
Good. Hey, so Elliot Smith, Cole Rue Johnson here. We should feel pretty honored, Cole. I think out of like the 300 episodes Tucker's done, I don't think he's ever had a guest speaker run his podcast. So I think we should have a pretty good honor here to be the first ones.
Yeah, he messed up with that.
Yeah, I know. Now we get the mic for a week, like for the first week. And I mean, he's going to feel bad when we get way more listens and way more downloads than him.
Whatever we record here, he has to put out too. So
exactly. Yeah. Because he's got nothing. He can't leave the fans hanging. So cool, man. I know you've been on here before. I've been on here. So why don't you just give me, we'll just do a quick rundown of who we are. And pretty much today, guys, we're just going to have a conversation. So you can kind of be a fly on the wall of the conversation we're having about who we are, what we're doing to get lead flow. I inked up a friggin' sweet deal today, so we'll talk about that a little bit. But yeah, cool. Why don't you talk about a little bit what you're doing and where you've been up until this year?
Yeah, so I run an acquisition company out of Renton, Washington, which is King County near Seattle, about 20 minutes out from Seattle. And we're in here in the office cranking every day. We got a sales team. Mostly virtual right now. We have 2 guys in the office. We've been up to 10, 12 at one point, and now we've kind of scaled that back. But yeah, man, we're running a lean machine right now. We're getting after it. We're doing, our marketing ROI is about 10x right now on everything we're doing on the marketing end, and we're cranking them out.
How many deals have you got this year? COVID's been kind of tough for me. I kind of put a pause on marketing.
We've been consistent this year for that 4 to 5 a month mark.
Nice.
So I mean, what's somewhere around 40 probably.
Nice. Yeah. 4 to 5 this year is pretty good. Yeah. We're usually like 20 to 25. And this year I think we're less, but I had some other stuff. We bought a 24 unit, tied up in an 8 unit, add some duplexes rentals. You had
to buy 4 to 5 a month to flip that wouldn't work out.
Well, I mean, if you had a huge machine, but then I think on your last podcast, you talked about scaling back, right, for more success. So your margins way better this year?
Way better. So before COVID, we were spending 20, 30, 40, 50 grand a month in marketing. And, you got to bring in, 100, 200,000 every month to not only pay overhead, pay staff, but to take home, any significant amount of money. So it was a headache because, one bad month of putting 40 grand out there and they can get ugly quick. So yeah, right now we're spending anywhere from 7 to 15 a month on marketing, and we're still in that 100 to 200 a month range. In July, we went over 200. We hit 250.
Nice.
It was like 243, and that was on like a $10,000 spend.
Nice.
So COVID kind of forced me to say, how can we lean out our marketing and bring in the same, if not more, money? So that's why I think it's awesome that we're doing this video so other people can implement the same stuff.
Cool. Yeah. This year was a little bit different for me. We started out the year pretty hot. We've been doing 20, 25 deals a year, keeping a couple for rentals, doing mainly our own fix and flips, not wholesaling or anything. We started the year off friggin' with a bang, dude. Our goal was 8 a quarter. We had 7 tied up within the first 45 days of the month or the year. February was looking good, and then March hit, and we freaking the bricks went on. Everybody kind of just dug their heels in. We started getting a lot. We've always done direct mail, so I've been solely direct mail. Maybe some like one-off cold calling where I was calling people like on
How much would you guys spend on like an average month on just pure
like
direct mail?
10 to 15,000,
Gotcha.
like just on direct mail.
And
And we would mail the same list all the time.
Were there months when you were getting nothing out of that?
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, dude, it's terrible.
That's the issue with being like a pure mailing acquisition company, is you're putting yourself on the line every single month and just hoping people call you back.
I know it. Yeah. But it worked. I mean, usually I would send direct mail out because it was all driving for dollars. Tax delinquent was a good list. And we get, 4 to 6 appointments. And we'd probably close 2 to 3 deals. I mean, we were doing really good. I mean, it worked really well. But then COVID came along and we started getting a lot more angry calls in like middle of March. Like people were like thinking we were like taking advantage of people in bad situations and stuff. So kind of put the brakes on. I got super depressed because I'm a people guy. I know you're an introvert, so you're probably like, woo, COVID, I guess stay home. But
Well, yeah. COVID or no COVID, my life is pretty much, I don't really leave the office if I'm working, and so it hasn't changed a ton for me. But,
yeah. See, I was I'm a golfer. I was doing like 150 rounds a year the last 3 years. But then, so we stopped marketing and it was nasty. And then, so we kind of stopped. And then I'm like, we met, you and I met in April. That's when we went with Tarl to Suncadia. And then I called you a couple weeks later. I was like, hey man, I got to get some different leads going. I got to do some cold calling, some stuff. And you're like, so you had me do some cold calling. And then I'm like, dude, cold calling, this thing works. Let me help you out with some scripts and stuff. And
well, to preface that, like before Elliot even started using the call center, I built this internal cold calling center out of need. Pretty much, we needed a lot of leads for 5, 6, 7 people in here in our sales team. So I was like, how do I generate that? And ended up just hiring one cold caller after another. It doesn't work. Like having cold callers on couches in their homes and having no central management and having just 7, 8 people in the Philippines on their couches at home does not work. Even in America, you can't have people calling from their couch. It doesn't work for cold calling. So it wasn't working. We were spending a bunch of money and nothing was coming back in. So I pivoted to found a manager, kind of luckily found a great manager. And then we got an office space, started filling in agents there, and it changed the game. Up until about a year ago, all we did was cold call, and we were doing $700,000 to $800,000 a year in wholesale revenue.
And you had some buddies using it, right? Because I look at their notes, dude. I can't believe it when I see like the billing sheet and stuff. Those guys
been around for
freaking 30 hours a day. Some of these guys, and they're getting freaking 100 leads a week, and I'm like, holy moly, dude.
So some of my buddies with bigger companies have been using me since. Even when I wasn't a company and we didn't have Call Magic and it was just a kind of an internal thing. I was just doing it to cover a little bit of cost, have some buddies come on and use it and try it out. And they were crushing it. They were getting 12, 15, 20 leads a day in some markets. And yeah, but it was messy. It was never a thing. Like, so when you called me, it just kind of made sense.
Yeah. Cause I called you and I'm like, hey, I want to do this. And you're like, well, it's maybe this much money or this much. And it's like, just shoot it over to this guy. And I had my operations manager, Brent, was working for me. And so I kind of pushed it off to him to let him set it up because that was kind of his job. And then unfortunately he ended up, him and I went different ways. He had a different idea of what he wanted to do with his life. So no hard feelings there, but so then when, but we were using it, we were getting leads, we were talking to people, it was working. And I'm like, hey man, let me listen to some of these calls. Let me help with the script a little bit. I can do some training videos for your sales, for the guys. Like I love the sales stuff. And so you're like, hey, why don't you just help me and go sell it? And we can just take over the call center and grow it as a business 50-50. So that's when I called Justin Severio. We were teamed up with him on some stuff. We're working on building some stuff out with Justin Severio, open letter marketing. And then we started talking to Tucker and he gave us some great advice. And then you remember we had that call where we were thinking like, hey, we need maybe a third partner, somebody help us be a CEO. And we're like, all right, Tucker wants to talk to us about it. And we're like, we're not making a decision because we're going to go, we're hanging out with Brandon Turner the next week. And we're like, we're not making a decision until next week. And then we get off the call with Tucker and like 5 minutes later, we're like, all right, let's do it. Yeah. So, but anyway, so then we partnered with Tucker and so we started selling it and frigate. We're killing. I mean, it's going good. I mean, some of these guys the guys that have good, really dialed stuff going. They're killing it. The new guys are freaking getting leads and talking to people.
Well, I mean, the number one thing with cold calling, especially that marketing channel, it's not like a get rich quick thing. It's not like you turn it on and you start, in some cases, yeah, you're going to get contracts this first week, but it's like these leads need nurturing for like 2-3 months before they turn into deals. So, I mean, that was what we saw when we were doing $700,000 a year on pure cold calling is, if we turned it off, we're 3 months out from doing consistent deals again once we turn it back on. Because that pipeline has to build. You have to nurture. You have to mess up. Everyone's going to run it a little differently in terms of how they filter out and screen these leads. So it's just it's not one of those things. It's not a faucet you turn on and it starts working right away.
Yeah, the nice thing is the faucet, you can turn it on. The thing I like about it is because I put my campaign on hold. I just got back from a 2-week RV trip. But I put my campaign on hold. But when I come back, I turn it back on. And there's leads that day for me to start talking to. So I get right back into it. So I'm talking to people. They might not, it's cold calling, so it's different. They're not always going to be ready to sell right now. But you start that relationship. I got some calls, I'll talk to people for 10, 15, 20 minutes sometimes.
And the best way to train a sales team and get good at sales is you need volume of leads people to talk to. So it's great for that.
Yeah, that's like, well, you're asking me about my direct mail, and that's like I dropped because I'm a direct mail guy. I'm a Tucker Merrihew, born and bred, real deals. When I first started, I listened to Real Deals all the time. We walked into Tucker's office. Yeah, I mean, I have pictures of Tucker on my wall because he was my hero. I joined the DFA 6 years ago when we were still working a full-time job. Go into his office and I showed him my letter, and he's like, what is this? This is terrible. but then it was cool. He let us into DFA, even though we were kind of just north of him in the river in Vancouver. And man, so he's always been direct mail. And then he started doing some RVM and some stuff like that. But so I'm just like direct mail guy. That's what I like. I think it works really well. But we just sent out $10,000 worth of direct mail in August, and we freaking got 0 deals. I mean, dude, I was like, that never happens. And I'm just like, this is tough. Like, I still think I need direct mail in there, but for targeted stuff.
Yeah.
So, I think I think you need a smaller direct mail.
I think especially right now, for people listening to this, everyone, especially kind of old school investors with COVID, everyone's sending out mail right now. So if you're going to do mail, it has to be targeted to a specific audience and a specific list. If you're a developer, pick an area and farm the hell out of that area. And get super targeted and break it down, but you can't just do math. I mean, the last time must have been like April was the last time, like, hey, maybe I'm missing out on some mail stuff. Let's try it. Spent like $12,000 on a mail drop, nothing. Yeah. And that was the last time. I was like, this is the last time I'm playing around with this. Unless, if you're going to become the master of probates, yeah, throw some, your volume's so low where you can spend $100 and mail your whole probate list.
Oh, yeah. That's the deal I tied up today was a probate. So
we
get a lot of deals from probates because we're always constantly mailing them. The great thing about doing direct mail with probates too is like this lady called me and she's like, hey, my uncle had saved your letter. I get like 2 calls like that a year where the person that died has saved the letter and my letter was the only one. So that's why, kudos to Justin Severio, Open Letter Marketing, because our letters stand out. So they save it and then that's the letter they save. So all of a sudden people are going through the house and they're like, oh, they saved this letter. They must want to talk. I'll call this guy. You know what I mean? That happens like 2 or 3 times a year. So that's the one positive about always, like you said, probates. So I think mail, you really want to have like a stacked list, 3, maybe to hit 3 different things or probates. But then I think the cool thing about cold calling is you can pull such a wider range list. Like you can hit so many more people. And then with cold calling, you can funnel them. We funnel through the cold calling, we run them through the list 6-7 times, right? Then the cool thing about what we've been putting in that we've been doing, I don't know about you, you're probably talking about it more too on the texting because you're better than I am, but we've been pulling those, the people that didn't answer. So my wife, for example, she never answers the phone if she doesn't recognize the number. And there's a lot of people like that. So we pull all those not answers out of our dialer system and we slam them into our batch, automated texting system platform that we have our team managing for us. Dude, freaking I just bought it. I'm tied up in $1 million 8plex off that. Dude, I've got and I've only been doing it for like a month and I'm freaking killing it.
That's what changed the game for us is every single person reacts to every single different marketing channel differently. Mm-hmm. Like me personally, if you cold call me, I'm not going to answer. If you send me a postcard, I'm going to throw it away. If you send me a ringless voicemail, I'm not going to listen to it. But if you text me, I'm probably going to at least give it a good look.
Yeah.
So texting's completely changed the game for us. I mean, I would say right now, 70% of our deal volumes from texting.
Mhm.
And especially during COVID, I just don't feel like there's that many people out there really doing it and doing it right. Because those are two very different things. Like I remember when you started doing it, it doesn't work unless you have the whole back end and you have the
Yeah,
team.
because I started doing it before with back end system you built, and it was like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this. Is like you're in the batch lead thing and you're freaking trying to like find the message of the person that responded, and you're trying to sift through all these, or like Roar. Like they're good platforms, but then when you showed me that freaking back end Podio deal that you built that like keeps everything right there. Oh frick.
Well, with an SMS, think about I text you saying, "Hey, can I buy your house?"
Yeah.
And then you text me back. But little do you know, I've texted 2,000 people that day.
Yeah.
So I take 2 days to respond to you. You're gonna go, and then I say, "Okay, here's your offer." You're gonna be like, "This is a scam."
Yeah.
You have to have the right system in place so you can have a real conversation back and forth every 3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So it feels like an organic, authentic text, not a, "Hey, let me buy your house. I'm a robot."
Yeah. So I had our VA, my VA doing the texting for me, and he was doing all right, but you got this team built out overseas. What are they doing for you? Because I think they're starting my campaign. They're supposed to start it today, but I haven't loaded it in yet because I've been gone. But tell me a little bit about like how they're getting the lead, like what are they doing, like the conversation they're having, because like I don't want my leads manager sitting there answering text messages all day. It'll be tied up, right? So how did you solve that problem?
So our biggest issue when we started texting is because I had tried it out over the past year. I used Roar, I used some other stuff, and it just never worked. So with our current system, we were sending out all these texts, and like I was saying, no one wanted to talk to us. We were taking so long to respond. So I'm like, this needs to. And yeah, so I pretty much charted every step out of our text funnel, and I realized the biggest need was someone virtual who could sit there and have real conversations back and forth. Which the hard part about that is it has to be trained, because you send one bad text with misspelling, with every word misspelled, and they don't know what they're doing. They don't understand the culture, and it kills.
Or if they send it back in like Arabic or or Chinese.
English, like it doesn't work. It just kills the deal.
Yeah.
So it took a couple of months to really build out that team that could take over. And so our funnel pretty much looks like initial text goes out, text comes back in to a workspace that has canned responses that all integrated through an API to our original system. VA teams handling that, filtering them out, and then we have a second filter in America, a lead manager, and that's filtering them out again. And then finally it gets to our sales team after, what's that, 3 touches, and we're still getting 6-7 quality SMS leads sent to our sales team a day after those 3 touches.
But what's the other overseas to your current overseas team? So like I send you a text message, you send me a text message, "Hey Elliot, I want to buy your house at 123 Main Street," or however it comes off, right? I respond, "Yeah, how much?" Or "Yeah, I might be interested." Then so how many texts back and forth is your team, the first touch team, going back and forth with?
So the first guy is just sending outbound texts.
Okay.
That's one rule. The second rule is those first incoming texts, he's marking them do not call, not interested, discovery, and then he's having a canned response conversation with them, like, "Hey, can I get some more information? Is this something you're serious about the next 2 to 3 months?" And then once someone becomes interested, they then go to the third step, which is in the American, we call her a lead manager, and then she's getting on the phone with them, qualifying them more in depth, and then she's passing them to our sales team.
Okay, cool, yeah.
So, and then the cool thing is, like, it's the same process that you're starting now. Is I pretty much was able to build it in a duplicatable system to where now I can hand it over to you and say, "Hey Elliot, here's this funnel. All you have to do is take the last step, take that hot lead, call it." And like you're saying, you got that 8plex locked up. It's rolling now.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out. Yeah, because that 8plex was cool, because we had texted her about it, because we don't text 8plexes, that wasn't our thing, but we texted her about another property. She's like, "Yeah, I might sell that, but I'm also selling an 8plex if you're looking for rentals," because me being my, after I talked to her, so I got her on the phone, and we ended up not buying the flip house, but then I got the 8plex tied up, and so I've been under a contract with that for a month. But the problem I've had is just with my operations manager quitting, I need a leads manager to manage everything, and that's my biggest. So I've kind of just been putting anything on hold. But the canned responses, I can do that stuff. Canned responses are great, because you can just, somebody text me in, "Yeah, how much?" or "How'd you get my phone number? How'd you get my information?" I just click the button and be like, Yeah, I'm, John with 123 Home Buyers area or what. You don't have to tell them your real name, but just I'm John. Yeah, so we use public records to scrub against local numbers. Are you interested in selling? And my VA can just click that button and they say, yeah, I might be interested in selling. What's your offer? Well, then click the next button. What's your, we can't make you an offer without having a little bit more information. Is there a good time for us to call you? As soon as it gets called. The cool thing about it is you can hit push to acquisitions once it becomes a lead. And then it goes over into a seller leads app in Podio, and it's freaking money, because then all of a sudden, and then you can still see the text thread. But then also, if like say there's a response you want to have that's not canned, you just type in SMS : and then have a text. You can have a conversation right there through Podio. I mean, it's freaking, dude. How long did it take you to figure out how to do that? I mean, how did Cole become the genius tech guy that he is? Like, I am amazed at some of the stuff you build.
I'm really not. Like, I didn't get into real estate. Like, what I'm good at is tech or developing stuff or putting together systems. It was literally out of need. It was just to maximize our business. I need to get good at this stuff. So I spent hours and hours and hours learning all of it. But like this tech system, I mean, it's years of development, and it's changing every day. Like every day I'm getting messages from my sales team, Mike, like, hey, this needs to happen. When this happens, this needs to happen here. So it's a work in progress constantly, but to get it somewhere somewhat functional to where it is now, to where we're doing a few deals a month off it. And the cool thing about texting is we're spending, like, even sending, 3,000-5,000 texts a day, we're spending nothing. Yeah. We're spending like $3,000 a month on texting.
Yeah.
But yeah, the biggest hurdle with texting is different than cold call, because there's a huge funnel, a systemized funnel that has to be built out to go along with it.
Now, I know there's guys like Batch Leads that do the text. They have the text platform where you can do it yourself. There's like Roar, Lead Sherpa, things like that. And they're all good. But do you know anybody else that's doing like done for you texting where then they're only sending you warm leads?
No, people don't know. It doesn't exist.
Yeah. I mean, I know there's cold call, like there's a lot of different cold calling companies. I think we're better in some things, but I think we have better lead quality, communication. We care about your business more, and we spend a lot of time with you doing Zoom meetings when we onboard you, and spending time actually growing people's business, because we're real estate investors first. So we want to just meet new people and like want people that are going to be in our service for long term. So they need to make money if they're going to be with us long term. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so the texting, I haven't seen anybody do it. I mean, that's the cool thing about it, I think, is like nobody's competing with us, and there is people doing text messaging, but they're probably not doing it very well if they don't have a good system, right?
Yeah. I mean, it all comes. Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right. There's no one else really packaging up that way, because most people are just too lazy to put together that. Like how technical that system is to put it all together and make sure it works right is no one wants to do that.
Okay, so let's say I'm a newer guy. I got maybe one partner that I'm working with, and I want to use you for texting. Like, what would I, not only just like, we talked about the responses and stuff, but like, what would you expect my success rate to be? Like what are you seeing for success rate? Like, what are you pegging your success rate? Like, you're getting so many deals per so many text messages. What do you think it would be a good realistic goal for somebody?
You should be about 17,000 text messages per deal.
Okay.
That's our metric right now, and it's going to vary. If you're in Alabama or a higher volume market, Alabama, Kansas, Florida, Texas, you might be at 12, 13,000, maybe less, maybe more, because it also depends on your sales funnel and how good your guys are on the back end. But for us, we like to see an 80% delivery rate. That means 80% of the texts we send out are getting delivered. We like to see anything preferably above 10% response rate, and we're right around 10, 13, and with volume, so that's perfect. And we're sending anywhere from 2,000 to 5,000 a day. Nice. I don't recommend starting more than 1,000 to 2,000 a day. But
yeah, I started the first couple weeks. We started 1,000 a day, and like I had to turn it off because I'm like, oh no, I could only do like 400 because I didn't have everything at first. So you weren't sharing this with people until like a month ago. Yeah, you're like the gift that keeps on giving, bro.
even at that clip, that 1,000 to 2,000 a day, if you're at 17, say you're in a really competitive low volume market like Seattle, which I mean, most people watching this aren't going to be West Coast, East Coast, are going to be more enter the country. But even if you are, say you're in San Francisco, Seattle, that's still, even at a 1,000 text outbound a day clip, you're still doing 2 deals a month on text alone. And you're only going to be spending a couple grand on that. So if you're in Seattle and your average deal size is 25 to 45 grand, and you're only spending $5,000 for the whole month on marketing, and you're making 80, it's an insane margin.
I think that's the one thing. But tell me this: when you got started, like the hard part with going over, starting with marketing is basically you're spending so much. You don't want to spend all this money, right? Because you're like, I don't know, it's like $5,000 is a lot of money, right? When I dropped $10,000 worth of mailers, now it's a little bit different because I've done it. I know the ROI. I know that I'm going to make my money back eventually. I know I got to spend money to make money. But how did you get over that hurdle, like to start spending more money? Was it out of necessity to like feed your sales team?
I just want stuff. I just want action. I want stuff happening. And it's so hard to have a sales team in here full time. And when they don't have because with mail, you're waiting for people to call.
Mm-hmm.
And if I want them to have 15 new leads a day to call, each, I can't. You know how much mail that is? That's like tens of thousands of dollars of mail.
Yeah, and even if you're sending like postcards at like 40 cents, I've heard guys are sending 150,000 mailers friggin' a month, dude. Like, and it's just like crazy. Give me some of your budget. I can cut your budget in half, and I can get you way more deals.
And they can't sharpen their axe that way. Like my guys can't. If I'm only giving them 2 leads a day, they're going to have way less opportunities. They're going to be fumbling the ball more with real opportunities. It just doesn't work out. Because sales is such a repetitive, learned skill. Even if you're really outgoing, you still have to learn the technical side of sales of comping properties, making good, actual, feasible offers. There's so much that goes into that where you can't give them 2 opportunities a day and expect them to bring in consistent deal flow.
Well, the problem is like I just had one of my buddies that's an agent come on, and he kind of was helping managing my stuff when I was gone. And the cool thing is we're spending $10 to $15 on cold call, leads and, or whatever. We are $20 on cold call leads. And it's like, it would suck if there's an opportunity, a deal in there, but I'm getting 5 to 10 leads a day, for just my small business. Like, go screw it up, go make mistakes. Like, but when I have to spend money on a direct mail lead and I'm getting 2 calls, 2 good like calls at least, on this thing, and somebody drops the ball, like I would never give it up because I don't want anybody else to screw this up for me.
Exactly.
And so like they can't, like that was one thing I really struggled with when I had my operations manager is I didn't want to, like, unless we had a ton of deals, I didn't want him to like take over anything and give him a chance to grow so much because I didn't want to lose, because I spent so much money on this marketing. I didn't want to lose any opportunity, right?
And unless it's a 12, like that's the thing with me too, like because those are $100. That's what a solid mail lead costs $100+.
Well, yeah, I mean we were spending like, even just last year we were spending like, it was $5,000 to get a deal. So that's freaking expensive.
There's no margin for error. So if my guys, I'm so comfortable because all their leads are $12 leads.
Yeah.
They have so many opportunities, $8 to $12 leads. They're running through so many people, getting told no so many times, getting all these rebuttals so many times that when they do get a real opportunity, it's a piece of cake.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and then they can see what an opportunity is because they're seeing more stuff, right?
They can also kick people out quicker.
Yeah,
they get the feel for it.
I was talking to our business in a box customer, right, that over Ohio that we're using, and I was talking to them today, and they're like, they're looking at, because they just started cold calling, and they had like 32 leads and like from cold calling in what we've been doing like 7 days, and they have 32 leads in like maybe a week. And so I'm going through and I'm like pumped because we're both on their Podio, and I'm pumped. I call them, I'm like, dude, you guys got freaking 32 leads, and they're like, yeah, well, they kind of are retail. Well, I think they're just scrolling through them, and they are like, not understanding that you gotta nurture these. And I'm like, no, let's look at the bright side. You have 32 people that you get to talk to, you get to learn, and you get to help change their, help them in their situation. Like, this is a good thing. Like, you're building those ocean leads out for later on. And what I'm telling people is, a lot of people have been struggling this year. And, if you're listening on the podcast, you can't see it, but I got this little thing. It's a catapult. Like, it's an old school catapult. Greg actually bought it for me because I told him this metaphor. So this year's been a tough year. So what I've been equating it to is, we're pulling the catapult back. We're loading the catapult. We're loading our leads in our system. We're getting all these people we're talking to. And, every major election, things slow down. It seems like people are unsure of what's going on. So like, we're loading that catapult with leads and opportunities, and we're ready when the funnel hits or when the waterfall breaks, we're pounding that freaking catapult and we're launching, dude. So you're just building your funnel. Even if you're not getting leads right now, we're building our funnel and building our connections and our relationships for when things do start to break.
Yep. I love that. It's momentum.
It's momentum. And I don't know about you. Have you ever noticed, like, I swear it's the moon cycle sometimes, like all of a sudden, like you won't get any deals and then all of a sudden you'll sign up like 5 contracts in like 3 days.
That's just the nature of the real estate business. If you're an agent, if you're an investor, it's how it rolls. It comes in waves.
Yeah, my wife and I always think it's like the moon cycle or something, like the gravitational pull or something's weird, because like we won't sell anything or like have a flip sell or buy anything for like, let's say 3-4 weeks or whatever. Then all of a sudden 1 week I'll buy 3 houses and 3 of my houses are selling that week. And I'm just like, I have $200,000 swing weeks and I'm just like, what the, and then all of a sudden then nothing. And so then I'm like a drug addict. I need deals. We
have it too. Where like we'll have, like, if we're averaging 4 or 5 deals a month, we'll have, say that there's some months for the first 2 weeks of the month, we get like a contract.
Yeah.
And then the last week of the month, we get like 4 or 5 contracts.
Yeah.
And it just kind of ebbs and flows. As long as you're consistent with marketing, you're doing the right things, it ends up evening itself out.
Yeah, I think, and that's the great thing about you and the stuff that you're helping me build out better in my business is the systems that we can help people build to like stay in front of people. So like you are being consistent with these people. And so when that opportunity, that momentum does strike, you have all these opportunities because you're doing the right things day in and day out. So you're not messing things up. Yeah, there might be low times, like everybody goes through ups and downs. It's just the nature of real estate. But then you do all the right things, and when it goes up, it freaking shoots off like a rocket because you've done everything right.
My favorite thing is you ask anyone who's like super successful, you ask them, what's been your biggest failure? Everyone responds like this. Oh man, that list is too long. I have no idea where to start. And it's the same thing with real estate. Like it's spot on.
Yeah, I fail every day. I mean, there's just never enough time in the day. And so I think that's why I'm fortunate to be partnered with you and partnered with Tucker. So what, we're kind of running on time here, but what's your goal for the rest of the year? What are you looking forward to? You're only 22. I heard you're going to live in San Diego for 3 months. So if there's any ladies down in SDSU, my young lad Cole here is single. He's shipping his I-8 down there to San Diego because he doesn't want to drive it and scratch it. Staying on the beach for 3 months, maybe even 6 months.
I'm pumped, man. Yeah, I'm flying. I'm a snowbird this year.
Yeah.
I'm flying down and I'm just gonna soak in the sun and get after it. I mean, our goal, me and Mike's goal, Mike's my partner in this business. Our goal is to do more flips. So we have 2 flips we're buying right now and a contract to buy.
Nice.
And
about time you put your big boy pants on.
My big boy pants. Yeah, that's what you want to call it. I mean, when you're ripping 40 grand a wholesale fee, it's hard to.
Yeah, I know.
Take the training wheels off, I guess.
Yeah, the nice thing is, so we can have Spanish and English cold callers, and for the texting stuff, you and I are going down to Tijuana next month, and Tucker to look at putting cold callers in Tijuana, right? We're gonna do that. You're going middle of the month with me?
I'm pumped for that too.
Yeah, dude. Hopefully we don't get in trouble in Tijuana. I have my buddy that's gonna come in from Dallas that has been there quite a bit, and he's already told me some stories, and I'm like, I'm married. I'm gonna go there, look at the call center, and then go back to San Diego and stay out of trouble. So I don't want to be in a Mexican prison.
Yeah, you wouldn't fit in.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't fit in. No, but cool. Yeah, this year for us, we're trying to close. I'm trying to close this 8 unit. If anybody's ever closed multifamily, we've bought duplexes and stuff like that before, but we closed that 24 unit this year. That was kind of a roller coaster. But now I'm doing an 8 unit, and I'm running the show on this and.
Commercial lending is just funky right now, huh?
Dude, it's weird. So we got rates quoted anywhere from like 4.75. We just got a 4.25. This 4.75 25-year AM. We just got quoted a 4.25 30-year AM, which makes a huge difference. But then the problem was the profit and loss statement. They didn't want to give us as much money as we were asking for, so we had to bring more money to the table. So it's so trying to get that closed. I got a duplex that we just finished up in Vancouver that we're going to get rented out. We're leasing it up right now. So with those 2 projects, dude, I'm pumped. My wife and I made a goal this year to like hit $5,000 a month in monthly cash flow. We're going to have like $9,000 a month in monthly cash flow. So we are officially, if we stopped right now and didn't do real estate, we are officially out of the rat race. Our income from rentals and real estate officially is more than our our monthly nut for our personal expenses. So I feel like that's a pretty cool deal.
That's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, I know. Greg and I, we set a good goal. I set a goal with my buddy Greg on my accountability call to hit 5,000, do $2,500 more this year. Just the 24 units is going to be $2,500. The 2 duplexes are going to be like $2,000, and the 8-plex should be like with my 2 other partners should be like another $1,000 a month. So right there, that's like over $5,000 just this year. So
Playing with house money now.
yeah, so I think we're actually going to go live in San Diego. I think you were talking about live in San Diego like January through March next year, because I don't want to miss the holidays. I got a two-year-old, so I don't want to miss the holidays with him. But then I think January 2nd, we're just going to get out of here because the weather sucks here. So
Yeah, I'll see you down there.
Cool, man. So, all right, well, Real Deals guests, thanks for, if you stuck around this long, thanks for listening to Cole and I being a fly in the wall. This, what we're talking about, what we're doing in our business. Everything we're talking about, we do offer in services. The text messaging, we're in beta test right now with other guys. That's going to be a limited availability because it is so cumbersome to get set up for you. And so we want to make sure it's working 100%. We're not going to overlap markets with that. And we're only going to allow a limited amount of people into that deal because nobody's really doing it. And so we want to make sure we're doing it right and doing it the best, because everything Tucker does, everything I do and Cole does, we want to be the best customer service, best everything. So hit us up, callmagicleads.com. For cold calling. We can at least get you in cold calling, get you going. Then when texting's ready, we can get you looped over there. If you need some systems, we can help you with the systems.
It is ready. It's just we're taking a limited amount of people.
Yeah, I know it's ready. Yeah, we got the systems built out. We got it ready to start going. It's just we want to make sure it works. It's working really good for Cole and I. Like I said, I turned it on a couple weeks ago. I'm turning it back on tomorrow, full bore. I'm buying deals and I've been really busy, so I haven't been able to focus. If I can buy deals right now, then I think anybody can. Tucker's turning it on. This is a good deal. So cold calling, again, we're $1,800 a month for full-time caller. One deal a month pays for that easily. Everything we're talking about, we're seeing 8, 10, 12 X return. The money you pay us to run these services, we make money by longevity, of keeping you guys around. So if you guys aren't winning, then we're not going to win either. So just know we're in your corner. Talk to Dan about the DFA if you're not in there. Talk to Cole and I. We'd love to talk to you. That's probably one of the best things I've had in my career is joining that DFA. So anyway, guys, thanks. Appreciate your time. And Cole, I will see you tonight at 9:15 to play our nightly Warzone Xbox. Hopefully we can do better than we did last night. So
Appreciate it. That was fun.
All right, later.